Not Good morning, dear children. I'm here again to teach you the lesson Tea from Assam, which is the third part of Glimpses of India. Now, we all know that Assam is famous for its tea plantations. It is the largest producer of tea in our country, the state, and this lesson actually tells us about the tea gardens or the tea estates, which is visited by two boys. One is a student, both are students. One of them actually is the son of a manager at the tea estate, and the other is his friend who has joined him to his hometown to have a visit at the tea gardens. So let's begin. Pranjal, a youngster from Assam, is Rajveer's classmate at school in Delhi. Pranjal's father is the manager of a tea garden in Upper Assam, and Pranjal has invited Rajveer to visit his home during the summer vacation. Chai garam, a vendor called out in a high pitched voice. He came up to the window and asked, Chai sahab, give us 2 cups, Pranjal said. They served, they sipped their steaming hot liquid, and almost everyone in the compartment was drinking tea too. Do you know that over 80 crore cups of tea are drunk every day throughout the world? Rajveer said. Phew, exclaimed Pranjal. Tea really is very popular. So these two boys actually they are going to Assam from Delhi during the summer vacations, and so they are enjoying a cup of tea in the train, and Pranjal is very surprised when Rajvi tells him that it's like in the whole world in a day around 80 crore cups of tea are consumed. So that is quite a big number, and this number must have increased in the coming years with increasing population everywhere. The train pulled out of the station. Pranjal buried his nose in his detective book again. Rajvi too was an ardent fan of detective stories, but at the moment he was keener on looking at the beautiful scenery. Now, both the boys were fond of reading, but Pranjal, because he was himself from Assam, so there he was not much interested in looking out of the window of the train. But Rajveer, since he was going for the first time to Assam, he did not want to miss the beautiful scenery which was all around. So it was green, green everywhere. Rajveer had never seen so much greenery before. Then the soft green paddy fields gave way to tea bushes. So as they were entering Assam, he saw that there were all greenery all around and the green paddy fields. Paddy means the rice fields. Slowly and slowly they started entering into the tea. Both the sides they had tea estates, large tea estates, and the tea bushes were seen everywhere. It was a magnificent view. Against the backdrop of densely wooded hills, a sea of tea bushes stretched as far as the eye could see. Dwarfing the tiny tea plants were tall, sturdy shade trees, and amidst the orderly rows of bushes busily moved doll like figures. Now they was watching from the train itself the magnificent view of the tea estates, and what he saw was that there were many tea bushes, which was they were the tea bushes stretched as far as the eye could see, and these were dwarfed by the tall, sturdy shade trees. Okay, so dwarfing the tiny tea plants. So tea plants are actually tiny bushes only. They don't grow very tall in height. So dwarfing means making them small, making them look small. So dwarfing the tiny tea plants were tall, sturdy shade trees, and amidst the orderly rows of bushes, busily moved doll-like figures. Now, who are these doll-like figures? Doll-like figures are actually referring to the tea pluckers, the girls or the women who actually are working in the tea estates, carrying baskets on their backs. Large baskets are tied on their backs, and in those baskets they pluck the tea leaves with both the hands. So though they are dressed up in that Assamese dress, which is a skirt they had wrapped around a they have a wrapped skirt, okay, so that they look like dolls from far. So that is why the author mentions them to be doll like figures. Now at the distance was an ugly building with smoke following out of chimneys, billowing out of chimneys. Billowing means coming out, blowing out. Hey, a tea garden, Rajveer cried excitedly. Pranjal, who had been born and brought up on a plantation, didn't share Rajveer's excitement. So Pranjal was as cool because he was not excited. He had been brought up in a tea garden, in the tea plantation itself. Oh, this is tea country now, he said. Assam has the largest concentration of plantations in the world. So he comes up with another fact that Assam has the largest concentration of tea plantations in the world. So you will see enough gardens to last you a lifetime. I have been reading as much as I could about tea, Rajveer said. No one really knows who discovered tea, but there are many legends. Now Rajveer was such an curious boy that he was so curious to know more about tea and tea gardens when he was going to visit Assam that he even found out the legends behind drinking of tea. Then Pranjal was surprised and he asked, "What legends?" Well, there is the one about the Chinese emperor who always boiled water before drinking it. One day, a few leaves of the twigs burning under the pot fell into the water, giving it a delicious flavor. It is said that they were tea leaves, and so by accidentally the tea leaves fell into the boiling water, and so when the emperor drank it, he found it very delicious, and from that time onwards, the leaves of this tea plant were used as a drink or as a beverage. Tell me another, scoffed Pranjal. Pranjal was surprised to hear all these stories or the legends behind drinking tea. We have an Indian legend too. Bodhidharma, an ancient Buddhist ascetic, cut off his eyelids because he felt sleepy during meditations. So 10 tea plants grew out of the eyelids. The leaves of these plants then when put in hot water and drunk banished sleep. So here Bodhidharma, who was Buddhist ascetic. Ascetic means he was a monk actually, he himself, and he was always doing so many meditations. But whenever he used to feel sleepy, he used to feel bad. And one day what he did, he cut off his eyelids only. He thought ki because of the eyelids I get so sleepy, so let me cut those. And the legend goes that when the eyelids fell on the ground, 10 tea plants grew out of the eyelids, and these leaves of these plants, when put in hot water and drunk, banished sleep. So just you all have also noticed that whenever you feel sleepy, if you have a cup of tea, you feel so refreshed, you don't feel like sleepy again. So tea was first drunk in China, Rajveer added. Now see, this was an Indian legend, the other was the about the Chinese emperor. Then he's telling again one more fact. I believe in the Chinese legend more because tea was first drunk in China. This has been again found in history, and it as far back as 2700 BC. He even tells the year, somewhere around 2700 BC. In fact, words such as chai, tea, and chini are from Chinese. So some these words tea, cha, chini. So all these cha sound, the Chinese people have their names also starting with G, cha, so that way, so they are actually Chinese. So tea came to Europe only in the 16th century and was drunk more as medicine than as beverage. Now the whole world drinks it as a beverage. The train clattered into Mariani Junction. The boys collected their luggage and pushed their way into the crowded platform. Pranjal's parents were waiting for them. Soon they were driving towards Bari, the tea garden managed by Pranjal's father. An hour later, the car veered sharply off the main road and they crossed a cattle bridge and entered Bari tea estate. So finally they come to the tea estate along with Pranjal's father. On both sides of the gravel road were acre upon acre of tea bushes, all neatly pruned to the same height. Now, see, the tea estates are well kept and well managed, and they're all neatly pruned. Why pruning is actually required? Pruning means trimming and giving them a particular height and shape, because the more you prune, the more you trim, the more new leaves sprout up. Okay, so they have regular pruning, and groups of tea pluckers with bamboo baskets on their backs, wearing plastic aprons, were plucking the newly sprouted leaves. So they were the tea pluckers in the tea estates. Pranjal's father slowed down to allow a tractor pulling a trailer load of tea leaves to pass. This is a second flush of or sprouting period, isn't it, Mr. Barua? Rajveer asked. It lasts from May to July and yields the best tea. Now, this boy Rajveer, he has read so much about the tea and how much tea and how many varieties and all. Some knowledge he had about tea before he came there, and his father was also quite surprised when he said that this is a second flush or sprouting period, isn't it, Mr. Barwa? Rajiv asked. It lasts from May to July and yields the best tea. So that means he even knew that the tea is actually harvested twice or thrice in a year. You seem to have done your homework before coming, Pranjal's father said in surprise. Yes, Mr. Barua, Rajveer admitted, but I hope to learn much more while I am here. So he was such a curious boy, and it is always good to have to attain more and more knowledge. See how the boy had actually prepared himself before he came to Assam. So, and now also he was ready to learn more from his father, more by looking at the things, okay, and more by looking around the place and interacting with people. So that's all in this lesson. Thank you all.